amazing, the gorgeous, um, the incredibly talented Melissa Mansfield-Anderson. Welcome.
Hello. Happy Saturday. Not used to Saturday. I'm not used to working on Saturdays. So here I am in my casual attire, but very excited to be here. Books are everything. Books are life in my house. I write them and publish them, and my husband and my son read them. Not the ones that we write and publish, but they're big readers. So it's a book house here. But today I'm going to start off by talking about funnels because that's the whole thing of the summit is all about funnels. And my favorite thing about funnels is the illustrious, sexy automation and why it's so important. So what I'm going to do is share my screen with you. And we're going to walk through some of the big things about funnels. But before I do, we're going to kick off kind of where Elaine was talking yesterday about the importance of story. And why does it matter what I have to say? And why does it matter that if you're going to do anything that has to do with a book, that you would work with me? How much do I care? Well, it's a lot. So our agenda for this short period of time is going to be about learning about my company and myself, funnel automation, lead magnet using your book, and then an offer about sales strategy. So let's get into it. My company started as a desire to just empower women and make women feel bigger and badder because of the crappy things they've gone through. I love the word kintsugi. A lot of you probably know what that is. It is the Japanese art of when pottery is broken, it is honored by putting it back together with gold. And that is how I look at women. All of the things that we have been through, sorry, and a few good men, all the things that we've been through that were meant to destroy us, we have swept our pieces back up and glued them back together. And now if you hold us up to the light, we're these amazing, like stained glass, beautiful, shine our light on everything around us women. And I know this because we're entrepreneurs. I know this because we're all sitting here together. And if I were to ask any single one of you, what is important to you that you change the world, you have an answer. You're here because you want to make an impact. You're here. You're not just here to make money. You're here to change the world. And you're here to change the world because of the things you've gone through. So why is it so important for me to make impact? Because just like many of you, in March and April of 2020, I lost everything. And I lost everything because I was a badass social media marketing agency for restaurants. I had built my agency up over 8 years to be doing exactly what I wanted to do, work with the people that sling the food and the wine, because I like the food and the wine. So everything about my agency I was in love with. It took a long time to get there, and I covered restaurants from Atlanta all the way up here to Maine. I was teaching a class that earned students credit all about social media at a local college. And I hosted annual large women's events. And just in a matter of 45 days, it was just gone. But what didn't change is I still had a husband, a teenager, and a toddler. This is the toddler back in those days. Once I lost my agency, this little thing became a paperweight. Because I worked from home anyway, and this is where she wanted to sit. So I was spinning my wheels trying to figure out how I was going to rebuild my business with this on my lap. So I learned them all. I learned all the tech, and Haley knows all these too. I learned ClickFunnels. I learned Zapier, Anchor. I learned Kartra. If it's a funnel software, I learned it. Calendly, everything that came to bringing your business 100% online, I learned. I had been a web developer since 2006, but a lot of these were things that I hadn't used before. And now I had to master them and become really good at them. And also during this time, my marriage took a huge nosedive. A lot of people, when you have situations you're already dealing with in your personal relationships, tough times like pandemics, bring all of it to the forefront and make it even harder. We were reduced to text messaging each other things that people shouldn't say to each other when you're married and you love each other, all day, every day. He worked out at a bank. I was at home with the little one, and we both felt like we were doing more than the other, right? It was just a very, very difficult time. And I went from being this person, this very silly, funny friend of everyone, the rock, the one that people came to when they needed help, to a person that had a hard time getting out of bed, a person that was looking at her children and no longer felt tethered to the world through her own bloodline and her own creations. Everything that I loved just didn't seem worthy anymore, not worth being here. Yet I still had to show up online, and I felt like a complete fraud, kind of like the tofurkey, right? It looks like it might have golden skin on the outside, but you cut it open and it's just tofu. That was me in fall of 2020. So on October 3rd of 2020, I handed my toddler to my tall one, and I went into the bathroom and called the suicide hotline. And that is a place I never thought that I would be in my life, because I always found a way through everything I'd been through to pull the positive. And when I say that as somebody who became a widow at 36 years old. I lost my first newborn when I was 21. These are massive things that did not bring me to this level. And here I was, over some toughness in my marriage and losing my business. Yes, I was. And so many other people were too. The woman on the other end of the phone was so amazing and so empowering, and let me know that I wasn't alone, that there were so many other women that call her every single week to let her know they didn't want to be here anymore because they were failing. They were failing their kids. They were failing in their relationships. They're failing in their businesses. And when I got off the phone, it was still a ride back to getting to some normalcy, but I realized what it was that had always fed me for years, that it wasn't feeding me anymore. And it was, my passion was gone. So the working with women, right? Those large events I would have, I'd have almost 100 women in a room, and I was able to interact with them and bring in speakers. And it was such an energy rush that would last the next 11 months while I built up to the next one. Writing, I had written a book and I didn't focus on that anymore. So I thought to myself, what are you going to do? Because you can't sit here. You have a 2-year-old. This is not acceptable. You have a husband that needs you. You have a teenager that needs to get to college. So I looked back to March of 2019, where I had written my first book, Learn to Love Your Bum. And it was the 6 steps to attacking the mountain of self-esteem. And I launched it with this event. So before I even started writing the book, I knew what I wanted to write, had my title, and I started planning an event to launch my book. I sold tickets, I sold vendor spots, I sold sponsorships, I made trades with restaurants, flower arrangers. And then it took me about 14 days to finish my book, like from start to finish, published it. And on March 23rd of 2019, had the very first annual Superwomen Survival Summit. And my passion came back. Now, here I am in December of 2020, thinking about this monumental moment in my life, which also brought in over 26 grand over 90 days, and said, well, why don't I do that for other women? What if I help them share their stories? Because if I helped these women with my book, and then those women help women, what if I started working with women to tell their stories in a book so that they can impact hundreds of women, get more clients, make more money? And then Mansfield-Anderson Publishing was born. The impact that books and events make on our clients is massive. It cannot be measured. And once you affect one person with your story, it is going to continue like the butterfly effect, right? You're going to help them heal and move past so they can help someone else heal and move past, and so on and so forth. So the other thing it did for me was it leveraged other audiences. So other people I never would have been able, their audiences I wouldn't have been able to get in front of. Now, all of a sudden, I'm in front of these other speakers that I brought in's audience. just because of my one little 82-page book. And then these people all believed in it enough through enthusiasm and sharing little excerpts of the book. I would email out pieces that I was reading and writing, and I would get testimonials from the beta readers I had. I would send that out. And because of that, I was able to fill the entire room plus a second room of the restaurant with people that wanted to be tied to a movement and a message. Now, this is a sampling of the books that I've published through my publishing house, and I've got over 34 women that have become best-selling authors on Amazon and changed their businesses because they wrote a book about their story. But we didn't just stop here. Last year, I was able to experience growth enough that I hired someone to help me, and all that tech stuff that I learned, I incorporated into the publishing house. So now we've become indispensable because we help our clients write their best-selling book with their story and push their business, but we also help them with their funnels and automation, because you can have the best book in the world, but if it's like creating a billboard and then putting it in your garage, right? If you don't have it out there and you don't have a way for people to consume it and get their hands on it besides just Amazon, you're leaving money on the table. So with our funnels, our clients are able to attract more potential customers. We help them drive traffic to their landing page. We teach them some ads. Typically, Haley will tell you, I send my people to her for Facebook ads, and then of course, organic methods. And then we help them nurture leads through an assorted sequence of email automation. So the top 5 reasons why automated funnels are essential for any online business. And when I say automated funnels, I am directly speaking about book funnels as well, right? So to me, they're autonomous. They are one and the same. And I'll show you at the end just a handwritten kind of, you can take a screenshot of it, the process. But the top 5 reasons are: number 1, a funnel will give you consistent lead generation. It is your sales rep that is online 24/7. It gives you personalized communication, so you can write anything about your product business. Your funnel can be your website. If you go to Mansfield-Anderson.com after the event, you'll see that's a funnel, but it actually just looks like a website because you can build them however you want. And then automated funnels help build trust with your audience because, well, that's why we're here today. If everybody knew about funnels, they wouldn't be quite so sexy. They wouldn't be quite as exciting, and they wouldn't be quite as authority building. When people say sales funnel and other people don't understand it, it's that subconscious, ooh, this is something new and different. So when you have one, you become the new and different. You become the one that's the next step up in your industry, right? Because now you are into the tech that everybody has been trying to get for the past 4.5 years. The second thing is streamlined marketing. So if you imagine every time you write an email, right, you figure out who you're going to write it to. There's probably 5, 6 people that are specific to one particular thing in your business. Maybe there's 50 of them and you have to write those emails out. Or you want to segment out who is in what portion of your business, and then you've got to write those emails. That takes so much time. With automated funnels, as people come in as leads, they are automatically tagged and put in the correct box they need to be in so that you can create whatever party you need for them whenever you want to without having to do a bunch of research. Or you can have it set up that as soon as they come in, they get put into, it's automation, but I call it the party. They get put into the appropriate party where they're going to have a good time, right? And then it also tracks their behavior and interests. You can increase your sales because you don't have to do as much of the follow-up yourself, right? How many times have you, I know I've done it, how many times have you chased someone that you knew you just knew they were going to do business with you? They said they were going to do business. It was a yes. So you're reaching out once a week, you're sending an email, you're making a call, trying to get that to close. Well, let the automation do it for you, because when you let the automation do it for you, you're showing up in their email, you're showing up in their texts, but you don't have to do it yourself. You can use that time to continue to grow your existing lead list. And then when it's time for them to make that final yes decision, you'll be top of mind, but it's not because you've been hustling, it's because you were smart. And then of course, it saves on repetitive tasks, and you can focus on, again, your next money, your next win, your next client. And then finally, it's a better customer experience. When you bring people in through different lead sources, it's because they've had different interests, and you can break them down within your sequences so that they're only getting the content that they really desire. Another way this helps you is it keeps your unsubscribes low. Unsubscribes are very bad. You don't want them, because people that unsubscribe, it all goes into the, I want to say it's ICANN, and they track, why do people unsubscribe? And it can actually hurt you and keep you from being able to send emails in the future. So by being specific to what people want from you, it allows you to have a better reputation with the holy lords of all that are email, as well as keeping your customers happy, because you're only sending them what they want and you're not ever feeling like spam is being sent out. So why would you need to use an automated book funnel? Why would you want to do this? Well, offering your book as a free download in exchange for an email address, it's going to establish authority. Just like Haley said, some people won't even read the book. They'll just buy it, see your face on it, have your name on the cover, and that's enough for them to believe that you are an amazing creature. Testimony to that is when I wrote my book about being a woman, basically being a fat girl and still being super confident, having gone through childhood sexual abuse and not letting it affect how I felt about myself as an adult. It still increased my male client signups in my social media agency, because the people in my circle didn't know a lot of authors. So all of a sudden, when I came into my networking meetings and I was like, my book finally got published, this is amazing, they were like, wait a minute, you published a book? It is such an, what is the word I'm looking for? It's not a highly known process. So when you do it, you become kind of a celebrity in your circle because you're the person that did it. Now, if you work with somebody like myself or Haley, not only that, you also become a best-selling author, which again, that's only a 0.62%. You become a 0.62%er of people when you become a best-selling author. So your first option is to create a lead magnet funnel using an excerpt of your book, right? So you'll give away a free chapter, and then you'll nurture those people and flip them into a conversion of purchasing your full book. So this is one of the three I'm going to show you. This one I'm not a huge fan of, but it's out there. I prefer to do a free chapter in social media and then push them to take either a free download or a free book plus shipping, which is what we'll talk about next. The free plus shipping model. Now, the great thing about free plus shipping is media mail is very inexpensive. For those of you that don't know, forever ago in the United States, if you wanted to ship something that had anything to do with media, specifically print media, it's very inexpensive to send it anywhere in the country. So you can charge $9.99, which is still less than your book would be on Amazon. Or if you are a part of the WEN Summit's Abundance book, it'll be cheaper than it is on Amazon. So you can buy them at author price and then do those in the free plus shipping. And now you've got a small income stream coming in just from collecting leads, which is a far cry from the average cost of $25 to $100 to get a good solid lead that's a right fit client. And then the third option, of course, is to give away the digital download of the book. When it's your own book, you can do this. When it's a collaboration book, you typically can't do this because the owner of the collaboration book has the digital for sale. However, you could have a workbook that goes with the collaboration book that you're in. You can offer your own book either as a full PDF download, or there's also the opportunity to have a flip book so people can get access to It even makes the page turning sounds, a digital flip book of your book. So does everybody understand like the differences between these three funnels? I'm going to go into chat here and just make sure I see a yes. Yes. Okay. Just needed one. We're going forward. But I want to show you what it looks like because I said I would tell you how to build it. And this is it. Take a screenshot or a picture because this is your book funnel. Regardless of how you do it, this is what your book funnel will look like, okay? You're going to have your first page, which is going to be your opt-in, and that's going to be your free download or your free plus shipping. Obviously, if it's a free download, there's no order form. Free plus shipping, you're going to have the order form on there to cover the acceptance of the shipping payment. Next, you'll take them to a one-time offer. And this is whether you're doing a free download or the free plus shipping. It'll just be how you set up the funnel. So the second thing, that one-time offer can be, get this coaching package that I have at half off today, or upgrade to VIP and get a ticket to my upcoming event that I'm going to be having virtually or live. The one-time offer page is specifically to create an additional source of revenue coming off of what is normally a break-even funnel, right? So if they say no, then you'll just send them right to the thank you page and it will start the initial email of here's your welcome, here's the link to the book. And then the next day you're going to resend the link and you're going to offer that one-time offer again at a little higher price point, right? Because you don't want to take away the integrity of the one-time offer. And then on the third email, you're going to either start setting expectations of, now that they know you, what about you, what can they expect by being within your circle triangle, a newsletter, anything that's going to now get them more engaged. You could start talking about your book. Now, say they say yes, and they take that one-time offer. And I will say a high percentage of people, depending on the price of your one-time offer on something like this, will just take it, especially if they did the free plus shipping. So you have a second one-time offer, thank you page that's specifically for the one-time offer. And then that starts a different automation, right? That's going to be the welcome. Here's the book, or here's the confirmation. And then the one-time offer content. And then you'll resend the link again to make sure they got the content that they needed with a custom message. And then the fourth one before you break into a nurture would be a newsletter or expectations. Now, the great thing about this is if you have a monthly, and I think it was, was it Katarina was speaking yesterday? Okay. So she was talking about having a monthly, was that her? She was talking about having a monthly event, right?
Yep.
This is the perfect time to push that event out, right? They just got to know you. They're excited because they got a good deal from you. Now tell them about your monthly event and get them signed up for that, because it is yet another piece of inexpensive or free content that they can get to know you. And from there, now you've got them hooked, right? So let's talk about, I'm going to take it back around to, okay, so now I've got my funnel. I know how to build my funnel. I know what I want to do with it, but what do I put in my book? How do I write my book? What am I going to do for content? So the first thing to do before you even put a finger to keys or pen to paper is to define your target reader. Who is your client, right? Write the book about what they need. So right now we've got a couple books, right? We've got Haley's book for abundance. I've got another book myself that is specifically for solopreneurs that want to become CEOs. You write what they want and you fill it with tips with what they need. So by the time they're done with your book, they have actually been able to execute a few things and hopefully see a result either in mindset or in actuality. When you write that book, another thing I recommend is putting in worksheets or affirmations, things that they can go back to that are going to keep them picking up that book, or might even make them throw it in their briefcase, messenger bag, purse, so that they want to have it with them at all times. Think like almost like a little textbook. And then it goes back to your landing page. Make sure your landing page is clear, concise, it is attractive and appealing for who that market is. So if you look at this book, this is actually another book that I've been working on. This is specifically for women, as you can tell. And if you look at the content, it's going to scream to women that maybe want to boost their self-esteem some, right? So make sure that you've got a clear call to action and that it speaks directly to the potential reader. And then have your emails ready to go, right? Have them all set so that the minute somebody signs up, they're in, they're tagged, and you know exactly what they're in there for. And then the last step is to drive traffic to your funnel. And I'm going to go back to the event that I had. And I'll be talking about that in another time too. Hell, I have to find out what your next summit's about. But when you have your event, you're leveraging other people's audiences by bringing them in. So find out who can you have speak about the content of your book, who works in a similar niche or industry that it works together, where you're doing something together, even if you're just interviewing them or being on their podcast or they're on your podcast and you could talk about your book to their audience. Again, it's free traffic, but it's quality because they will trust you by proxy, right? So I'm almost out of time. And I know I covered I think I covered a lot in a little, I'm from the Northeast. I do talk very quickly, but I would be saying, then what? Then what? Then what? I have the people, I have the book, I have the funnel, I have the leads. Then what? Well, here's where my offer for the summit comes in. Closers Nation opens up this coming week, and it is a membership group specifically to teach you how to walk your prospects from suspect to revenue. And within the Closers Nation, you get a free landing page funnel built for you. So I'm giving everyone a 30-day trial. It will be a specific link because we don't do 30-day trials. We only do 14-day trials, but you'll get a 30-day free trial to work with me and to start building out your own landing page. And if you don't have a book, that's okay. We will build it out for whatever lead magnet you have. It's really important that anybody that's doing business online has the ability to capture leads and to do something with them, because it's the only way you can make the money, right? So I know we only have like 3 minutes, but I am happy to take any questions that anybody might have.
It's Tiff, and I have a question. Haley had in the chat about the break-even funnel. Could you explain that just a little bit?
A break-even funnel?
Yeah, thank you.
Let me know if this is what you're talking about, Haley. So break-even funnel would be if you are running ads, right? Is this what you're talking about? Running? Yep. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to run ads to your funnel. And Tiff, we talked about this with VIP on when you're doing your challenges, workshops, webinars, right?
Yeah.
You invest in ads for your funnel, but then you have a VIP level or a one-time offer level that you are taking the money from that and you're applying it to your ads. And if you feel like you can't afford ads, one of the things that I've learned in the past few years is you can take like a tiny little credit card and run ads for a couple days. And then as you're making money, keep paying on the card, right? So that way you're paying it as you're accumulating the ad spend. The other thing you can do is you can contact Haley and she can run your ads for you because she is badass at that. But that will give you a break even so that you're not spending money to actually invest in advertising. You're making it back.
Thank you. That made a lot of sense.
Do we have any other questions? Oh, that's a good question. Do ads work?
Absolutely. I can't.
Yeah.
You really can't answer this because it's what you do, but I'm going to tell you now, ads work. I won't talk about what I spent. When you have the correct budget, the correct audience, and the correct platform, ads work. So hire someone. Don't just say, hey, I've got $25, let me throw it at this. Let me boost this post. Don't hire someone. That's the best answer I can give you, but they definitely work.
Yeah. So I'm going to add something to that. Ads absolutely work. One of the things we were talking about last night in the funnel workshop that we were doing is testing it with a warm audience to make sure you've got the right audience and the right targeting to make sure that your end-to-end funnel actually converts, and then starting to do the ads and give it 3 months, 6 months. It needs some time. So you need to have a little bit of budget to be able to do the ads once you've done some warm testing with it. But if you can actually manage to do the warm testing phase, you can actually shorten that phase between how much time it takes you or your ad person to test and debug that, and it drops the costs pretty dramatically on your ads. Hire a good ad person with lots of integrity. Absolutely.
I would say one more
yeah.
tip on that side. If you are just in the beginning with your book, do your own virtual launch or do your own live launch and boost your event, because Facebook, events in Facebook are native. So they want to share that. So by boosting your event, people that respond to your event, they are the people that are interested. That can be your lookalike audience. So that is inexpensive. And when I say inexpensive, I mean around $100. You boost it for around $100, you boost it for 4 or 5 days, and it's going to give you an idea of who your true market is. So that would be the one tip I would say. And then you could go to Haley and say, okay, this is my data. This is what I see. What do you see?
Right. And there are things that you can do super inexpensively for yourself, like doing a like campaign, not $100 a day, $100 total. One of the things we do a lot of ads for when we're starting to build an audience for somebody, if they have no list or anything else, is that we do a like campaign on the page to build the audience, to try to test the audience and see. And then we start slowly driving traffic. Once we've got a few hundred likes on the page, we drive traffic at like $5 a day or so to see how we're converting. And if we can get good conversions there, then we'll slowly bump it up. But we don't start at $100 a day because ads have a curve. And when you go over the top of the curve, it actually like drops, like your yield drops way, way down. So you want to make sure that you are trying to get to the top of that curve and staying there and maximizing your ads, because your graphics and your copy and everything have a certain longevity to it. So your funnel will continue to convert as long as you drive traffic to it, but you need to make sure that you keep refreshing the ads. And you don't want to come in there like with a fire hose approach, because you'll spend way too much money. I can absolutely help you with that.
There's a question from Patricia Rosario I want to answer real quick, because it is a fantastic question. And I think it's one of the biggest I get, is how do you manage time to write a book when you have tons to write about? So I'm going to say write too much, but don't write it. Open up the speech to text. If you have an Apple, use the notes. If you have a Samsung, find a color note or some other speech to text, and just start telling your story like you're talking to your best friend on your couch or that you're out for coffee, because you can always go back and fix grammar and pull things out, but it'll get your content out quickly and it's going to sound conversational, which is going to make for a better book.
Yeah. Google speech to text is another tool. There's Dragon Naturally Speaking. There's a bunch of them if you're not comfortable just going straight to written. And there's a lot of ways to reuse content, which we could do an entire summit on creating the content, reusing it, turning it into a book, turning that into social media posts, and then turning it around to use your funnels. It could be its own entire summit, like seriously. Cool. Well, thank you.
Thank you. It was great to be here today.